Hello everyone, this is Urvisha and today I'm going to explain on Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code is one of the biggest reform that has been implemented by Government of India. This code has passed in both the House of the Parliament in May 2016 and this code is one-stop solution for resolving the insolvency that previously was long procedures and did not offer an economically viable arrangement. This code is also protect the interests of the investors and bring up the ranking of ease of doing business in India. Now the area of the coverage will be what is the insolvency and bankruptcy, why the code is needed, the regulatory bodies, provision and process under IBC, comparison between UK IBC and Indian IBC. Now, what is the insolvency? Insolvency is the inability of the person, or we can say corporations, to pay its debts or dues when it is become due. Means it is the inability of the person. Means it is the stage where the person or corporate become unable to pay its dues. And when it is legally declared that the particular person or corporate become unable to pay its dues, then it is called bankruptcy. Means if any court has declared that the particular corporation or person is unable to pay its dues, then it is called bankruptcy. So after becoming bankrupt, company go to the liquidation stage. It is the winding up of the business. Means in the liquidation process, all the assets of the company being liquidated and distributed among the stakeholders. Earlier, if the company become insolvent and bankrupt, company go to the liquidation stage. Now company has the option of the resolution that company can revive from the bankrupt after becoming after before going to the liquidation stage. Now, why the code is needed? Earlier, bank itself was not able to recover its money back from the borrowers on time. So there is a need of the speedy mechanism to resolve the stress assets. And to whom it is applicable? It is applicable to individuals, partnership firm, LLP, and corporate. This code is divided in five different parts and deals with the different entities. To in what time frame the insolvency procedures should be completed. It should be completed within 180 days or it can be extended to 90 days. How the process can be resolved. This can be resolved by the court and court will be the NCLT that is National Company Law Tribunals for corporate and DRT that is Debt Recovery Tribunal for individuals and partnership firm. Now why the code is needed? To ensure the revival before liquidations. As discussed earlier, company has only one option that is liquidation. So now company has the resolution option that is company can revive before going to the liquidation stage. To reduce the mounting NPA of the bank, NPA means the non-performing assets of the bank. So it is the bank's bad loan that bank cannot recover the money from the borrowers. So due to the increase in the NPA, increase in lending rate and investment cycle could disturb. Means if the bank cannot able to recover its money on time, then it cannot lend the money on new ventures. So investment cycle of the bank will disturb and investors' confidence in economy will reduce. As the bank's more and more money stuck in the non-productive assets, then the investors' confidence will reduce. Ultimately, growth of economy will reduce. Earlier, despite of this many act, NPA of the bank will keep on increasing. So let's take SICA, that is Sikh Industrial Corporate Act. According to this act, government will only interfere when company becomes sick, and it is obvious that at this stage of the company that bank cannot recover its money. So SICA Act was fundamentally wrong. After this, recovery of debt due to the bank and financial institute was introduced. According to this act, bank has to go to the court. That is, according to this act, a separate tribunal was established, and bank has to go to the court to recover its money. But according to this act, from giving the notice and going to the court, it is also time consuming, and more cases was stuck in the court, and tribunal was not able to resolve all the cases on time. So after that, SARFAESI Act was introduced, that is securitization and reconstruction of financial assets and enforcement of security interest. According to this act, bank does not have to go to the court. Bank can sell the money, bank can sell the assets of the company and recover its money. But this is only applicable to the collateral asset, collateral loan. Means And it is also a time-consuming process because from giving the notice of the 19 days and recovery the recover of the bank loan from the selling of the assets from the auctions, it is also a time-consuming process. So there is a need to refine this all that, and to reduce the NPA of the bank, this code is introduced. Now there is a need of unified code. Earlier, there is a different act and dealing with uh, different different criteria. So there is a need to consolidate all the existing framework and creating a single law for insolvency and bankruptcy. Now to provide easy exit for corporation. If now earlier, if the company want to exit, if the company want to wind up of their business, then they have to go to the court and wait for on an average 2 to 3 years. And we can imagine that money stuck in non-productive assets for 2 to 3 years is huge. So there is to ease the provision regarding the winding up of the business. This code is introduced. Now let's look at the non-performing loan to the total loan of the bank. That is, in 2011, the non-performing NPA was 2.67%, and this keep on increasing. And in 2016, it was 9.90%. Means we can say that within 5 years of time frame, the NPA of the bank got more than triple. Now NPA of the now let's compare the NPA between the topmost economic countries. In UK, in 2016 in UK, the NPA was 0.90%. Means on the base of this, we can say that the UK has the best model of resolving the insolvency, and the Russia and India has the very poor law regarding resolving the insolvency. Now let's look at the money value block in the NPA. In September 2016, the NPA was 7.07 trillion rupees, and this keep on increasing. And we can say that after stabilization of this code, it start decreasing. So this all the amount is more than 25% of what the national budget is. Now let's take in 2016, the national budget was 19.78 trillion rupees, and this amount, that is 7.07 trillion rupees, is the 35% of the national budget is. So this all the amount is worth more than 25% of the national budget. So we can say that 25% of national budget was stuck in the NPA. Now the purpose of the code, first is to consolidate and amend the law. As discussed, there is so many act dealing with resolving the insolvency. So there is a need to consolidate all the existing act and amend all the laws. Recovery of the money in time-bound manners. Earlier, due to the lack of the speedy mechanism, um, more and more cases stuck in the court. There is 1 lakh cases pending for DRT before introducing the code. 5,000 companies pending for liquidations, and CLB got 4,000 cases every year. So to speed up the mechanism, this code is introduced for maximization of value of assets. If the bank can lend more money in the new ventures and new productive business, then they can maximize the value of the assets. To protect the entrepreneurship, as a company can recover the money, as bank can recover the money from the borrowers on time, they can lend the money in new ventures and can promote the entrepreneurship, and also they can ease the availability of the credit. They balance the interest of all stakeholders. This code also deals with the liquidation part, that at the time of the liquidation, it considered interest of all the stakeholders. Establish an insolvency and bankruptcy board of India. This code is also deals with the provision regarding the insolvency and bankruptcy board of India. Now the regulatory mechanism and regulatory bodies. There will be two main regulatory bodies, that is Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India and Adjudicating Authority. Now, this board has the same power as the civil court has, that is, in regarding the issuing the summons, producing the books of count and all. This board comprised one chairman and 10 members. This board has this, the main function of this board is to regulate this three entity, levy the fees, register this three entity and all. Now, the Insolvency Professional Agency. This agency is develop the standard and ethics of this insolvency professionals. Right now, there is a three agency. There is a Institute of the Coast Account of India, the Institute of the Chartered Account of India, and Institute of the Company Secretary of India. Now, insolvency professional, the main work will be handled by this professional under this code. We will discuss on later on. Now, this insolvency professional will tend to act on the basis of the information available with this information utility. So the main function of this information utility is to collect, and authenticate all the financial or required data which is required to resolve the insolvency and bankruptcy. And adjudicating authority, there will be two main adjudicating authority, that is NCLT, National Company Law Tribunal, and DRA, Debt Recovery Tribunals. Now, process of initiation by financial creditors. Financial creditors is the creditors who have lent the money in the business. So they can apply to the court if any company have committed any default. And the financial creditors can apply to the court itself, or if they can uh, apply with others financial creditors, and they have to give the name of the proposed interim resolution professionals. So on the applications, court may reject on the ground that there is no default has existed, or if there is a incomplete application, or they can admit the case if they satisfied. Now, process of initiation by operation creditors. Operation creditors is the creditors who have supplied the goods or services to the business, or we can say company. So, to apply to the code, firstly they have to send the copy of the invoice or demand notice to the debtors, or on the receiving the demand notice or invoice, if the debtors reply within 10 days, or if there is any dispute exist regarding the goods or services, then creditors cannot file the case with the court. Or if there is no dispute exist, or if there is no reply received within 10 days, then they can go with the court, that is NCLT, and apply to the court. Now, a corporate debtor itself can file the application to the court. They can apply with such informations and furnish the books of account. They have to give the name of interim resolution professionals, and NCLT within 40 days may accept or reject the applications. Now, let's understand in details the procedures of resolving the insolvency and bankruptcy. Now, if any debtors, means if any company have defaulted of rupees 1 lakh rupees, earlier it was 1 lakh rupees, now it is amended to 1 crore rupees due to the impact of the COVID-19. So any company committed default of rupees 1 crore, then they can apply to the, means any creditors, financial creditors or operational creditors can apply to the court, and court on applications may reject on the ground that there is no default has exist, or incomplete application, and giving the opportunity of resubmit the application within 7 days. After the application, they may admit the case within 40 days, and on the admission of the case, this process, that is corporate insolvency resolution process, will be start. After the admission, court will communicate the admission of the case to the creditors and corporate debtors, and court will declare the moratorium period. Moratorium period is the suspension of the all the law and activity, means all the non-essential activity will be stopped, and no new fresh case will be uh, um, uh, will be no new application will be applied to the court. So there will not any no new fresh case, or no any essential activity will be held. So after the admission of the case within 40 days, court will appoint the interim insolvency resolution professionals. These resolution professionals publicly announce regarding this particular company go to the insolvency procedures. So after the public announcement, creditors will submit the claim, and this insolvency professional have to verify all the claim of the creditors. After that, they have to constitute the insolvency professional have to constitute the committee of the creditors. After the constitution of the committee of the creditors has to this all the work this IP has to finish within 30 days. After the constitution of the committee of the creditors has to arrange the first meeting within 7 days. Uh, and in their first meeting, they have to decide whether the existing insolvency resolution professional will continue as an resolution professional, they can replace with another resolution professional. Now, this resolution professional will collect all the information and which will be required for preparing the resolution plan and circulate this information and memorandum. So after that, they can also appoint the resolution applicant to prepare the resolution plan. After the preparing the resolution plan, they have to circulate with the committee of the creditors. And this resolution plan required 66% of voting of the creditors to approve the plan. Uh, After the approval of the plan, a resolution procedure professional can submit this plan to NCLT. Now NCLT may accept or reject the plan. On acceptance of the plan, company can implement the plan, or on rejection, company have to go to the liquidation process. This all the procedures should be completed within 180 days. It can be extended to 90 days. Now, role of the insolvency professional. The main work will be handled by these insolvency professionals. First is in regard to the management. Insolvency professionals will manage the affairs of the corporate debtors. They will after the appointment of the insolvency professional, all the powers of the board of directors will be suspended. The officers and managers will report to the insolvency resolution professionals, and the financial institute will act on the instruction of the resolution professionals. Now the authority of this professional will be, this professional shall have the same power as the management has, will act and execute in the name of the corporate debtors and to access all the information and books of account, etc. And duty of this professional will be, insolvency professional have to collect all the information of previously 2 years to arrive financial positions. They have to verify all the claims submitted by creditors, and professional has to constitute a creditors committee of the creditors, and they can monitor and manage all the operations. Now, process to become an insolvency professional. For CA, CS, CMA, and advocate having a 10 year of experience, and they can simplify pass the insolvency examination, and after the passing the examination, they can enroll with the agency, that is CA, CS, and CMA institute. And after the enrollment, they can apply to the board as an insolvency professional. For the young professional having less than 10 years of experience or no experience, they can complete the graduation program, which is offered by the Indian Institute of the Corporate Affairs. After the completion of this 2 year graduation program, they can pass the insolvency examinations and enroll with the insolvency professional agency. And after that, they have to apply with the board as an insolvency professional. Now, comparison between Indian and UK law of the insolvency. This comparison is very important because UK has the best model to resolve the insolvency. So first, let's look at the similarity. First is regime. In both the cases, creditors will in control, and in both the cases, creditors or debtors can initiate the insolvency resolution process. In IP, will be in charge of all the operation of the company. A moratorium period, in both the cases, there is a moratorium period. Now, differences is that IP has to sign the bond in the value of the assets of the company in UK, and in India there is no such provisions. IP autonomy. UK in UK, insolvency professional is free to take any decisions. In India, IP has to take approval of the creditors. Means if the IP want to change any portion of portion in capital structures, then they have to take approval of the creditors. And in major important decisions, IP has to take the approval of the creditors. Moratorium period, in UK, there is no such moratorium period. In India, there is a moratorium period of 180 plus 90 days. Now, coming to the creditors voting, in UK, operational creditors or financial creditors can vote for the approving the resolution plan. In India, only financial creditors will be allowed to vote for the improving the insolvency resolution plan. To conclude, before IBC, the recovery rate was around 26% in India, and the time taken for the resolving the insolvency was 4.3 years. So after the introducing this code, the recovery rate was increased to 71.6%, and also the year recovery time taken was also reduced for 1.6 years. So, on an average, resolving the insolvency, India's ranking jumped to 52 in 2019 and from 136 before IBC. And more and more cases were referred to NCLT. That is, in 3 years, 21,000 cases were referred to NCLT. And due to the impact of the COVID-19, there is a suspension of section 7, 9, and 10. That is, any creditors, financial creditors, operational creditors, or debtors cannot file any application to the court regarding resolving the insolvency due to the impact of the COVID-19. This suspension will be for the period of 1 year. So I would like to recommend to visit this insolvency Board of India to gain more and more knowledge regarding resolving the insolvency. Thank you.